Hello, this is Sabina at Cross Keys Crafts. I have just returned from my holiday in Germany and I was really looking forward to coming back to the craft room. And this morning I was inspired by a video by Natasha Foote. Well, if I say the video, it was just the title of the video. It was talking about white cardstock strips. And I had this idea to create a card making a trellis with strips, or like weave the strips and stamp on them beforehand, cut them apart and then feed them together again. Well, I'm going to spare you that. I deleted all my footage because it did not work. The problem with this is as I said, I stamped the same image twice. I cut strips that way and then that way and try to weave them and match the image. Problem is, although I used thin cardstock, and I recommend this for the other technique I'm going to try now as well, but you lose a little bit by weaving. You lose a little bit, or basically you lose a little bit. How can I put this? Well, some of the strips become shorter, and just by going that way, and then the image don't, or the two images, same images, just don't come together, although I tried. So I had a trial run on the back to see if it would work actually stamping just one image after I've woven it, and it sort of seems to work. I had a few gaps here, but I think I get away with that. So I want to try this now on this video. So best thing to do is, first of all, I'm working with this is 180 GSM. Let me just check again. Yeah, 180 GSM. If you've got something thinner, even better. I just don't want to use copy paper because then the glue will show. But you don't want anything too thick because you will have then edges in the stamping. So I've just cut my sheet in half, and now I need to create 1-inch strips. You can have slimmer strips, but I think that's a good size. One going down and with the other one, so vertically, and one going horizontally. So, and I find the easiest thing to do that's why I'm just showing you my guillotine here, is because this is like 5 7/8, is to find a measurement like here, like 5.5, and cut this down to 5.5, and then I'm moving this over to 4.5, and that gives me a 1-inch strip. And then I can go to 3.5, 2.5, 1.5, and then I will probably come in from the other side to just cut the half off, because it's a half is a little bit difficult to see in my guillotine. And the same with this one. This is 8 1/4, so I would cut this down to 8 and then go down to 7, 6, and so on. So I quickly do this off camera and then I show you the weaving. Because we started at 8 inches, we've actually got one of these strips spare. I'm just putting this aside. I might use that for sentiment afterwards. So I'm left with 7 of these and 5 of these, plus the one that I can dispose of, which is the 1/2 inch. So, and what I need to do now is, I think I'll start with a long one. I'm going to glue these on here now, but starting at the top here. By the way, this is a little bit longer than 7 inches, should be anyway. Yeah, it's over 8 inches, obviously long. So I'm gluing this one here on the edge here so that it fits right into the corner, and then the next one needs to go underneath. So I'm just using my magic glue here. I suggest a quick grab glue. I wouldn't use anything that moves about too much. You could do, but I think it just takes so much longer. So I'm just hovering it above here, and when I'm sure it's in the right place, I'm pressing this down. So now I can turn this over and putting glue on here. It doesn't have to be perfect, but you need quite a bit of glue on there, I think. And just see if the camera shows that. So, and this one here now, I'm going to place this against the edge here, and I'm going to make sure it's all the way there, and I'm going to line this up here. I'm leaving a tiny gap because I think I'll be needing that for the weaving actually afterwards. So just making sure they don't overlap. I don't want these to overlap because that would cause some that would make it difficult later to stamp. I've got something on my craft table there, never mind. So I can then flip this over again, and also, I don't know if the camera picks it up, I've got a bit of, bit of bumpy bits from my glue, so I need to be a bit more mindful of spreading this out a little bit more. I could also use a glue stick. This is just to keep these in place whilst I'm arranging them. Ideally, see, I've just put my finger in the glue, so I'm glad I've got a spare one because I put some glue on here now. So I'm just disposing of that one, and it's probably better to put the glue on here because I don't want any glue to show on the front. So again, line it up at the top there, line it up here. It doesn't have to be perfect because I think we'll have to cut it down just a wee bit all the way around afterwards anyway, but you get the idea. So I'm quickly doing this now. I'm putting these all on here, and then I'll show you how we weave these in. So now that they're all stuck down, we have to weave this one in. So if you look, the second one here is under this one, so this needs to go over the second one, so under the top one, and you can just flip these open like this, and you can just feed this through. Now I've got it completely the wrong way around, so this needs to go under that one. Yeah, that looks better. So the important thing is that once you've weaved it through, you push it as close to the other one as you can, and also make sure it's straight. You don't want these to fan out. So I want to finish it at the top and have this basically parallel to this one. So if you look at the bottom bit, we've got the same sort of little gap here, and I'm just putting a bit of glue on the top here. I actually didn't quite pay attention to here. The important thing is I think that you've got glue on the edges. So I can put this up here, put a bit of glue on there, and then press this down. And I'm doing the same at the bottom here. I'm not too bothered about the bits in between because we're going to glue them down anyway afterwards. So maybe a bit more there. Pressing it down, I get rid of a little bit rid of the bumpy things. So on the next one, I need to feed this again under, over, under, over, and so on. Oops. Again, pushing it close to here without damaging the cardstock too much with my fingernails, and pulling it through a little bit, although it doesn't matter because we can cut it down. And then again, I'm going to glue it on the top and the bottom. So I will quickly do this with the other two strips as well, and then I'll show you how we stamp the image. When you have attached the last one here at the top and the bottom, you also need to glue down all the strips on the side. So just pop a little bit of glue on the side there and then press it down, because this will obviously be the edge of the card. We don't want these to come off. The ones in the middle stay in place because the other strips are so close to them that they keep them in place. Got a bit of excess glue there, but it doesn't matter because I think I will use that for the back anyway. So, giving that a moment to dry whilst I'm getting my stamping platform ready. I definitely recommend a stamping platform because I do expect that wherever we've got raised bits that there will be a problem stamping this evenly. So let me just get this ready. As my stamp, I'm using this Tree of Wisdom from Lavinia Stamps. I thought this would be nice. I think any sort of image that fills the space quite nicely. Keeping in mind though that I will cut this off, and the bottom here I will cut this off afterwards. So I've already aligned this here in my stamping platform, and I'm ready now to ink this up. I think I will just use my VersaFine Onyx Black. Obviously you couldn't use any other ink. I even thought about using the Pine Cone, but I think this will be quite nice. So as always, making sure I've got plenty of ink on here. So, and I've already got on the side here my pressure tool because I want to apply lots of pressure where these strips meet. Might actually be better off doing it with my hand. So I can lift this up so I can see that are little gaps there, like there and there, but I'm quite pleased with that actually. So I'm just going in just once more where I saw those, see if I need to ink it up. But yeah, it's a little bit there. Always a bit mindful sometimes when I do it again in the ink in the stamping platform. I find with this one here, which is the Creative Craft Products one, sometimes you've got a millimeter out of place. So I don't know why that is, although I do prefer this one to my Tim Holtz one. So, but I don't know, I think it's just some movement there. So I'm just trying to go in again. Where I've missed. Yeah, there are little areas there, but I think all in all, the look is really nice. So, and I don't mind having a little bit of a gap there, for example, because it helps, you know, otherwise the whole woven image might actually get lost. So yeah, I'm quite pleased with that. So the only thing I'm contemplating is whether I want some greenery around this or something. So I've got an idea how I could create that really quickly in the stamping platform. So just switch this off and get this ready. In my stash, I have got a round gel press. This is 4 inches in diameter, and this is the perfect size to actually cover the area here where the leaves are. If you haven't got a gel press that size, but you have got some craft foam, you know, like the kids' craft foam, and a circle die, you can also cut your own stamp basically and use that one. So I'm going to use this one. I'm just leaving this on the acetate that it comes with because that allows me actually to use it like a stamp. Hopefully it won't fall off when I don't want it to. So I'm just putting this a bit aside. So I have been thinking about, I don't want to use too much water on this cardstock because obviously this is thinner cardstock, so I think I will just work with inks. But if you wanted to and wanted to have a trial run, you could possibly use stinkles and, you know, like even mica powders and go fancy, but I think I will just use some of my Lavinia Elements. So I've got the pine cone here, and sorry, whilst I'm digging this out, I will also use the lime punch. And I think I will use my brayer because I don't really want, I want to have a little bit of a blend on here. So I'll quickly get my brayer out. So I'm just using this mini brayer, but you could, if you wanted to, go straight onto the gel plate. The problem sometimes that I have is the shape of the ink pad shows on the gel press, and I try not to have that. So I'm just applying a bit of ink here, very randomly. Oops, sorry about the noise there. And then I'm inking this up, just going from a slightly different angle, and I'm not even going all over, just trying to see. It's very difficult to see actually, and sometimes you think you haven't got enough ink on there and you do. So I could spritz this, but I think I will actually risk it and just do it straight away. I can see here where I'm placing it, so a bit further down. I'm just pressing this down and I'm just risking this. As I said, if you're not sure, you can spritz this a little bit. Just mist it, don't wet it. What I can see through here though now, don't know if the camera picks it up, I can see where I'm pressing this down, and the gel press or the gel plate, because it is so wobbly, allows me to press it down where I've got the edges from the strips. So I should, in theory, get a very good coverage. The only thing I'm not happy with is I can see this through here that is a little bit missing, probably where I put my finger in. So I'm wondering whether I can actually lift this up, and you see there, whether I can actually ink this up a little bit just to cover this. Yeah, I think I rescued that. So I created a little hinge. So and I think just to get it off, I think I will actually just tip over my whole stamping platform. Sorry about going off camera, but I think that'll be easier. So I can just use the weight. So I'm trying not to ruin this. There we go. And I've also missed a little bit on the top here. So if I wanted to, I could come in again. But I might just leave it there. You know when you shouldn't do it and then you mess it up. Let me just ink this up a little bit more. So I'm just having just a little bit there on the edge. I'm also a bit conscious that I might have actually just distorted the shape a little bit when I pulled it off. So I'm just trying to press a little down there at the top. Yeah, that's okay. So I rescued that there. So yeah, I think this is really nice. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to leave it to dry for just a moment, and then I'm going to cut this down. This these 5 strips are obviously 5 inches wide, and this is 7 inches long, but I know that my card is actually slightly smaller, so I will just put this in my trimmer and just cut, I don't know, I'm never very good with inches, but just a little bit off all the way around, and obviously a bit more here where I've got the spare strips anyway. And then I will place this on my card and find a nice sentiment. I have cut this to 4 3/4 by 6 3/4, so I've cut about this much off. That's actually 2 pieces from the top, so just a few strips, and obviously a bit more on the side here, but you can see from here how much that was. So just trimmed it down a little bit. And I forgot, although my shopboard cards are a bit smaller, I can actually easily create my own 5x7 card from A4 cardstock. This is a 300 GSM. Obviously you can have something slimmer. So I cut this to 10 inches by 7, scored it in the middle at 5, and that gives me a lovely 5x7 card base. So I don't have the problem that I have a smaller one because it's shopboard. And I've also cut a panel. This is a thin black cardstock, which is 5x7, so that will fit on here. Actually, I might have just cut it a wee bit smaller, but that gives me a nice frame for this, because I'm thinking about turning this into a sympathy card, and I think this would be really nice. To stick this down though, I don't want to put any more wet glue on the back because I'm a bit conscious of the thin cardstock, so I will just use some double-sided adhesive tape. I've got lots of this, I hardly ever use it, so I'm just putting strips all the way around, but also on the middle here, making sure that even the middle adheres properly. So I quickly do this off camera, the same here when I'm going to mount that, and yeah, and then I just find a sentiment and I will stamp the sentiment. I think I will just do this off camera and I'll just show you the finished card. The card is almost finished. I have stamped and heat embossed this sentiment. That's from the Visible Image Go To Words. You've seen me use this before. It's my favourite sentiment stamp set ever. I really use it all the time. But I cut this down and I place this here at the bottom, but I think this is just too much. It's too wide. It covers the roots there, and I actually would like to show the roots just a little bit at least. And it's too wide as well. It's too heavy. I just thought I'd show you this before I cut it down, just so you know, you start to understand why I cut things the way I cut them. So we'll definitely cut this slimmer. Try to cut off as much as I can from the top and the bottom. And also, although I'm working with squares here, I think it would be nicer if I rounded off the corners with my corner rounder. I think this will be so much nicer than, not as harsh as it is at the moment. If you feel like, or if I should feel like it stands out a bit too much, I might even redo this in white. But I think the tree could do with this grounding and have the heavy black on here, which ties in nicely with the edge here of the card as well. So as I said, I will quickly do this off camera and then show you the finished card. So here's my finished card. I hope you can see the difference now between the sentiment strip before and now. I think this is so much less in the face, still nice enough, still grounds the tree nicely, but you can actually see the roots here. So I've just covered about the gap here, or this strip down here. Sorry, by the way, I feel like my brain's just going brain fog. I think I need to stop filming now. And I thought about doing another video, but I think I'll record it in the morning. So yeah, but I'm pleased with this. Sometimes it's nice to have a sympathy card on hand if I need one. And yeah, I think this is nice. Hopefully not too much in the face. There's a bit going on obviously with the trellis or the woven pattern, but I think this is nice enough to use. And yeah, I'm quite pleased with the result. It's not what I had envisioned beforehand. As I said, I had recorded a different video that didn't quite work out. But yeah, I think this is interesting and would work with quite a few stamps. I have thought about doing a separate card where I have slimmer strips. I might actually do this. If I do this, I will quickly post the finished card at the end of this video. It is 2 days after I recorded making this card and I wasn't quite happy with it, so I'm just popping in to show you what I have changed. You've just seen I turned it into a sympathy card, but even when I was filming it and finishing it, I wasn't quite happy with it. I think it is too busy for a sympathy card. There's too much to look at. You want a sympathy card really to be quiet and simple. So I changed this to a birthday card. And all I've done is I've cut a white strip of cardstock and I stamped birthday blessings. The blessings is part of a stamp set from Lavinia Stamps. This time I cut it apart. Actually, it says Christmas blessings. I've shown you before how you can ink up half a stamp. You just mask it off. But I'm using just the blessings, I decided to just cut the stamp in half. And the birthday here, that's from Visible Image, from the Blow Out the Candles set. So I just stamped both of these and I heat embossed them in clear because I thought that would be a nice feature. And then I thought the white was a bit too harsh, so I just used my green ink blending brush and I just very lightly ink blended around it, and that ties it in quite nicely with the top. And now I'm happy with this. I think this would work as a mail card. It's a fairly simple birthday card, but I think, yeah, it's definitely better than a sympathy card. So I just wanted to pop in to show you this, and then obviously I will now show you the footage of how I made the second card. So I'm just popping in again. I have created a second card with the slimmer strips. These are just 1/2 inch wide, and I have stamped this lovely robot from Visible Image. This is called Robot Data. It also comes with the dies here, but obviously I didn't use them. And yeah, I think this is really nice. I did, though, because I found this didn't come together that well, I did colour this in just with an alcohol marker, just one colour for the whole body. Then some of the screws here, some of the nuts, I coloured it in with a darker grey, and then I just did the eyes with some yellow and orange as there is on the packaging. I didn't do any other shading because obviously the shading comes from the woven pattern. And I then, I cut a frame. I did this with some nesting dies, and that also determined the size of my card. So this is just 5 3/4 by 3 3/4 because that matched the die more perfectly. I had it wider and then cut it down. And I stamped the sentiment just in some dark blue here, and I cut this again with a nesting die. It's just a little one here, and I went round the edge with my Artistro silver glitter pen just to tie this in with a holographic cardstock in the back. And yeah, I think again this is interesting, it's different, and yeah, I like this too, and hopefully you do as well.